Hello, my fellow glorious Gaians. Thank you for joining me, Amber, on my channel, Guidance Through Gaia, where I do tarot pick-a-card readings. If this is your first time here, welcome, and I hope that you find something useful today. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you for giving me another opportunity to read your energy. If you are interested in a private reading, I do offer those. Just look for my contact information in the description box down below. Send me an email, and I will send you a list of my services. So today, my loves, we are going to be looking at how you will see justice in a situation. Okay, if you're curious about this reading, if it stood out to you, that means that there's probably something in your past or maybe even in your present, right? Where you're just experiencing frustration. You feel like you've been betrayed or harmed or just not taken into consideration. And so this reading is going to give us an indication of like how it's going to be rectified, right? Like what is going to come out of that situation that's a positive for you. Now, that could be action that happens against another person. It could be a feeling that you receive. It could be how that person comes in to treat you differently, or a situation, how it benefits you. There are any number of ways in which this could show up in your life. But we are going to be using these oracle cards to discern what situation it is that's occurred where you feel like things haven't been just for you, where you feel like there's been an injustice. Then we will be using tarot to see how justice will be delivered in this situation in your favor. And then we will get a message from the Tree Magic Oracle deck to just see what else the universe has to say. So we have three groups here. We have this eyeball here, the pair of lips for group number 2, and then group number 3 is this little like pot with a flower in it. Okay, what do they call that? Oh, I don't even know. I'm not a plant person. I want to be a plant person so badly, but anyway. If you feel called to more than one pile, obviously go ahead. You have the freedom to choose and see if there's a message in there for you as well. But I'll see you at your reading. Bye. Hello, group number 1. If you chose the eyeball, this will be a reading about how justice will be delivered in your situation. So let's set that off to the side and we will take a look at these cards to see what the situation actually is. And if this description fits something that's occurred in your life, then this is a reading that will have a message for you. So we have card number 49 with Talisman. We have Fatalist here. And we have card number 2 with Flamingo and Fun. So group number 1. With these cards here, I think it's interesting how this woman here kind of has a flowing dress, right? And this one as well has a garment that's very similar. Underneath this woman's foot, there's the yin-yang symbol, and I'm not sure if this is a rune. She's got, what is this? Okay, almost like the garment is shaping a dragon. And there is this talisman, I suppose, and we're looking out at this winding road. And then we have this woman. She's blindfolded. There's these arrows that to me signify like on a machine, you know, process of up and down. And she's walking along this really thin wheel here, where there are these small people operating it. It feels like there was trust here. Trust that there was a genuine connection with somebody. You know, there's these flamingos, but they're the lawn ornaments, and those are plastic, right? They're plastic decorations out in the lawn. So it's almost as if something was designed to appear something like a certain way, but it was fabricated. And I feel like you weren't aware of that. And so this woman, she's on the yin yang, which is kind of like a symbol of balance. But she's not particularly well balanced. Not with her putting her foot on this rock right here. I feel like there either was a connection where you felt like someone had your best genuine interests in mind, right? A friend, a romantic partner, a family member, a coworker, and you thought that the connection was mutual. And then it's almost as if though you were kind of walking on a thin rope. I know this isn't a rope, but that's just the reference that comes to mind. You didn't realize how narrow the path was and the curves, right? This person was kind of, I feel, leading you. You thought that the direction that they were taking you in was harmonious. But I keep hearing something along the lines of like the machine was designed to fail. And it's almost like this person sabotaged this. And it could be that they sabotaged the connection. It could be one of those things where maybe you thought the two of you had a really close bond, and this person just kind of turned around and was like, oh no, like, it was never that serious. Or maybe you thought they were going to help you with something. And the way they had talked, the actions they had taken had made it seem as if they were like really on your side, really supportive of you, walking this journey with you. But then all of a sudden it was just kind of like you were abandoned, you know? And I keep hearing this person being like, it's the risk you take, right? Fatalism is all about just kind of accepting that you can't necessarily control what happens and not giving into the fears of chaos, right? And so it's almost like this chastising attitude of, well, it's not that big of a deal, group number one. You know, it's, these things happen, or it was never that deep, it was never that serious, or that's the risk you took. Like I said, this could be about a relationship. I mean, I can see a variety of scenarios here, you know. Someone who's maybe trying to help you get a job, but then you don't. And there's something about that situation where you understand that like they didn't follow through with what they said they were going to follow through with. You know, it's not necessarily like they tried and the hiring manager didn't feel you were qualified or a good fit. It's like some kind of carelessness or influence that this other person had. For others of you, is a relationship where you, like a romantic relationship where you thought like things were going to get more serious. Maybe there were promises of commitment, moving in together, things like I love you, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you, talking about having children, making plans, like long-term plans, and then all of a sudden like they're gone or they're breaking up with you. And you're just thinking like, was any of that even real? And yet this person is just kind of acting as if they're okay with letting it go. you know, okay with moving on. And for others of you, it's like a frenemy. Somebody that you trusted who came into your life, or maybe they've been a long-term friend, right? Or you've known them for a while. And you thought that you were really close. But then you hear them gossiping about you. You hear them, they tell you they can't make plans with you because they're busy or they're sick, and then you see them somewhere else. And for some of you, it can feel very malicious, where it's almost like somebody set you up because they thought it was funny. They thought it was funny to see you fall. They thought it was funny that you would trust them. Or it's kind of like their sense of fun is tearing people down. And I'll tell you this, if that's who this person is, if that's what's going on, it's because they don't feel confident in themselves. I know we hear that all the time. It can sound like a cliche, but either they don't feel confident in themselves or they have a disorder where they lack empathy and compassion. Those things can be developed though. Or like, I'm not going to get into the whole spiel about like psychopathy and anti-personality social disorder. I'll just say that it's people who have them aren't always like negative people. So it's no excuse if that's what this person is going through. For others of you, it can feel like if there's somebody you know that has like a grudge against you or whatever, and I don't usually get this kind of situation on this channel, but I feel like for some of you, there may have been someone who does spell work, and they've used that in a way to negatively impact your life. And it's kind of like they're enjoying that, right? Maybe they felt like they deserved something and you didn't. They were jealous of you. They were angry with you, and it was what they decided to do. And they felt proud of themselves for it. They felt like group one deserves this. But whatever it is, there's a sense of trust that's really lost here, where you feel like, I can't believe that this happened, you know, and maybe it's caused you to isolate yourself, to resist trusting other people, to resist being vulnerable, to being cautious of new experiences. And it seems like, at least from your perspective, it seems like this other person either enjoyed this or is just being insensitive to how it affected you. So I apologize. I know that's a lot of scenarios. But the way I see that is if any of those fit, then there's very likely a reading for you here, a message for you here. Even with the diversity of scenarios, they seem to all have a common thread. Okay, so now we're going to see what justice looks like in this situation, you know, and this is what's going to happen. Like I said in the intro, this could take any way, shape, or form. This could be something that happens against this other person. It could be them coming back to apologize. It could be a blessing coming into your life in a different way, or, you know, emotional, mental, psychological healing. But tell me, universe, there's so much green here, you know, that's heart chakra, and that's like Mother Earth. Oh. Okay, the Eight of Wands. How is Group 1 going to receive justice in this situation? The Five of Cups. The Knight of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles. Ooh. The Four of Swords. And the Three of Swords in reverse. Okay. So this looks like this is very likely going to be action that occurs against the other person. Okay? So these may be things that you hear about or things that you may never come to know. Depends on how closely related you are to the situation still, if you have any mutual connections or what happens. The Eight of Wands card is about travel. But it's in reverse here, which can talk about stalling travel, a lack of movement. And then the Five of Cups. If this person was going to be taking a vacation, they're not going to be able to for whatever reason. They can't get the time off of work. Their car breaks down. For some of you, they're just uninvited. Okay. And, you know, if this is like a friend vacay, everybody else kind of gets to go and they don't. It could very well be that other people see the kind of person this individual is and they just decide that they don't want anything to do with it. So they're uninvited. But it could also be, like I said, they don't have enough money to go. Their car breaks down. They lose, there's like a malfunction with their ticket. And they're unable to go on this vacation. If they travel for work, I feel like are going to be removed from that position. Or they're going to have breakdowns and they're not going to be able to make their destinations on time. If they had taken an opportunity that you were looking to get and they were saying like they were going to help you with it, this opportunity is being revoked for them. They think that they've got it, but it's going to turn out that they're overlooked or that they're deemed not a viable candidate. I keep feeling like I need to pull another card for that section. The Star. It's something that's big for them. You know, a promotion. A destination spot that they've always wanted to go to. Their job. You know, it's something that they were really looking forward to. And they felt was almost guaranteed. And maybe it was just because they had too much confidence, or maybe it was because other people like they'd already gotten the plans ready. But yeah, they're going to be left out cold too. Whether it's in a job. If this is somebody that you work with, you might notice that people like don't talk to them as much as they used to. Right? Like maybe with the Eight of Wands, it's like they could have been somebody who was very chatty with other people. You might see them like laughing a lot with other people, walking the halls all the time, really connecting. Because like I said, the Eight of Wands is a very fast moving energy. So personality wise or situation wise, we can look at that as somebody who's socializing a lot very quickly. But in revert, and very like people are drawn to them, right? Like people want to be friends. And there's going to be pullback on that. They're no longer the star of the show. With the Knight of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles, they're putting money into something that they're going to lose. Could be, if we're talking about a vacation, a non-refundable ticket, right? Or they got a brand new car and all of a sudden, like, it gets crashed. Something goes wrong with it. It gets repossessed. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, the Three of Pentacles with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. And they're going to be working with some shady people, or they're going to be making unwise investments. This is somebody who could be like, this is just, it feels like somebody who, like, even if they were to go on a vacation, right? Like, this is the person who'd be picking up the tab thinking that, like, other people are going to start putting in their share, and they never do. Like, they always are given the excuse, like, oh, we'll get it next time, or thanks for paying for that. They're lending people money thinking that it's going to be repaid, and it's not. For some of you, these people are going to get scammed, too. Like, they could end up falling for one of those like phone scams, right? Or buying something online from a non-reputable seller and never get the product. Yeah. Tower in reverse for this one. And with this Four of Swords, the Three of Swords, I feel like the Three of Swords is in reverse. They're going to have to rest because they might endure an injury or an illness, and it's going to require them to take time off from work or have bed rest. Could even be their mental health, right? Like maybe they start going through like depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and they realize they have to sit back, because they know that if they overexert themselves, if they don't take the time necessary to heal, that it'll only get worse. Because the Tower in reverse is about preventing a collapse, right? It's about preventing damage. And the Three of Swords can talk, in reverse, can talk about healing from pain. So I feel like, and you know, because we had so many different scenarios, it could be they only experience like one of these setbacks. Maybe they get really sick or they have a really bad injury and they have to be in the hospital in a rehab unit for a while, or they have to be on bed rest. They have to take off of work. Or they, start making some really bad investments. They become part of like like one of those pyramid schemes, or they think like they just sell these products and they're going to make a whole bunch of money, but they end up like putting more money into it than they receive. And they don't have a backup plan. So, I mean, it could be any one of these scenarios, or it could be a multitude of them, right? It could be a combination of these things. But I feel like why they're experiencing this is, for one, it's a direct result of their actions, especially like if they set you up, they had that like mean girl kind of energy, regardless of if they're female, male, non-binary, whatever, then the repercussion of other people like excluding them is probably because like people learn about their actions, whether it's their actions against you or whether it's just the energy they give off, or they treat somebody else like that and it just goes sour for them eventually. Other things like this health issue, I could definitely see that being pushback from like a hex or a curse or a spell gone wrong, right? I don't necessarily believe in like the threefold law. I don't necessarily believe that if you use magic in a way to harm someone, that it's automatically going to harm you. I think it depends on the scenario. And in this case, it seems like your intentions were so pure that them, if this resonates with you, them trying to like magically influence harm or, bad luck into your life, I feel like the universe just kind of filters the energy and is like, nah, group number one didn't deserve this. And so their negative energy, their negative like influence just backfires and goes back to them and potentially negatively impacts their health, their finances, what have you. So we're going to get a Tree Magic Oracle card. Just use this as a little message from the universe. Oh, that came out right away. The Almond Tree, number 31. Inner riches grow from psychological maturity, bringing a windfall of good fortune. And it's labeled a windfall. Let's look at the book. So this is an earth tree, and it says, The almond tree, which bears beautiful lacy white or pink flowers in early spring, forecasts happiness in love. Your lover may be a hard nut to crack because the fruit consists of a green, leathery husk around a wrinkled shell, which holds the nut. The husk, shell, and nut also represent your body, bones, and flesh and their interdependence, implying that you should communicate to overcome barriers. The nut also represents your protected heart and soul, revealing that you have nothing to fear. Marzipan made from almonds suggests that you will be invited to a party celebration leading to future invitations and many more sweet things. So we can look at this, right? If this was a lover or a friend that slighted you, the universe is really just acknowledging like you're going to have somebody good coming into your life. They may be, like they said, a hard nut to crack. But they're going to have genuine intentions for you. We also have the message of communicating to overcome barriers. So we can take that in a lot of different ways, right? Remind yourself what you deserve and of your value. When you are bringing people into your life, have an idea of like the kind of people that you want in your life and the behaviors that you won't accept. And, for that to be in here, I feel like maybe for some of you, this person, regardless of which scenario you had, they may have overstepped boundaries in the past, right? And you may have just kind of let it go. So the universe is really encouraging you to pay attention to when people don't respect your boundaries and make sure you don't surrender them, right? Like, don't make yourself smaller to make somebody else feel more comfortable. Because the right people will be the people who respect your boundaries and your needs. And then I feel like it's also just encouraging you to like ask for what you want, right? Journal it, talk to the universe. What I like to do is I like to go outside with a candle and just talk to the night sky. And then just a reminder that you have nothing to fear, okay? This looks like it was a very painful situation, but trust that your energy is golden, group number 1. And regardless of what happened with this person and how you feel set back or the negative consequences it had towards you, understand that the universe is protecting you because like you've proven yourself, right? Like your actions and your heart show the universe or your higher self or God or however you want to think of it as, that you are a deserving and worthy person. And that I feel like when we have that sense of love and compassion and generosity and care, and it makes it easier for our intent, like for the world to work through us. There are other things that can cause resistance, like insecurities and stuff like that. But overall, like that compassion and love and care and genuine character that you have is really attractive, not just to other people, but I think to like universal energy. And so just know that you are protected. And then very well, you could see that you will be invited to a party celebration, leading to future invitations and many more sweet things. So it could be like a work party. It could be a holiday party. It could be a birthday party, anything, right? But just look out for that because that could potentially lead you to more prosperous things coming into your life. So group number 1, if this reading resonated, please let me know how in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to be a part of the family and haven't done so, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know whenever I upload a new video. I do offer personal readings. Just look for my contact information in the description box down below. Send me an email and I'll send you a list of my services. Bye. Hello, group number 2. If you chose the pair of lips, this will be your reading about how you will see justice in your situation. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, justice can look different for different kinds of situations, right? It could be something happens to the other person. It could be, they come back, they apologize. It could be a feeling that you have, or other blessings that arise in your life in spite of this situation. We're going to use these cards to get the scenario of how there was injustice in your life. And if that resonates, then there will be a message we'll deliver about how justice will be served in this situation. Group 1 had like a lot of scenarios. It was like, damn, group 1, like leave some scenarios for the rest of us. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Okay, so we have card number 10 with rock bottom. We have angel. Card number 36 with power lines and energy. And card number 13 with medical staff and healing. So I'm really drawn to this rock bottom card. All 3 of these cards, like at face value, they seem like such positive things, right? And I feel like, hey, puppy, no. I feel like this is a person who just took all your energy. Group number 2. I feel like you held them on a pedestal. You saw them as like your guardian angel, somebody who was there to protect you, somebody who made you feel better. And you saw them as somebody who was innocent, somebody who was justice. I'm trying to see if I can see what these say. Deuce. Hide. There wasn't an angelic quality about them, and I think you were really captivated by them. And there was this innocence that you held for them. Others of you, this was somebody that you did try to help, right? You saw them at a period in their life where they were really struggling. This could have been a stranger, a coworker, family member, friend, lover, any type of person. Well, the pair of lips makes me think it's probably not a family member. But we could also look at that as like holding on secrets, biting our lip. I feel like for some of you, you felt like this connection was really healing and it gave you a lot of energy. It's almost kind of like finally, right? Like this is what I've been looking for. This is the person I've been searching for, my other half, my counterpart, somebody who really respects me and cares about me and values me. And you felt like part of yourself was healed from it or by it. You might have been kind of in a dark spot yourself at some point, or just feeling hopeless about something, maybe feeling isolated from other people. Maybe you were struggling with trying to find a friend, or, maybe you've been kind of outcast from your family, or you've just felt like you were meant to be alone, like you weren't good enough for a romantic partner, or that you weren't going to find it in this lifetime. And so it's kind of like meeting this person. It's like, yes, like I belong somewhere. There's someone here who sees me and cares about me. And then others of you, you just tried really hard. You saw someone going through something painful or difficult, and you reached out to them. Like, you offered them a lot of support. You gave them advice. You let them stay at your home. You lent them money. You helped them get a job. Whatever it was, like you offered your resources. And I think in either situation, it's like someone took advantage of that, kind of for their own gain. And like, it's just kind of interesting, like how these telephone lines are kind of directed at this angel, also almost as if it's like attached to the angel, right? So it's making me think of like feeling as if your energy was sucked out by the end of it. You know, they just kind of siphoned it. That's what I keep hearing, is like siphoned. You know, you replenished them to the point where you had nothing left. And you may not have felt that way at first. You may not have seen it for that at first. But it's like, I just keep thinking of like a leech, you know, like a vampire. Like, you're leaning in to hug someone, but it's not until you look in the mirror that you see there's a bite on your neck. Or like thinking of Sailor Moon, right? The objects that were possessed were always really good at like stealing energy from other people, and the other people didn't notice. They didn't notice that their energy was being siphoned. And it's kind of like someone used you to heal themselves. And then it's just kind of like they dropped you off. I'm just seeing in my mind like someone being pushed out of an ambulance, right? And just stranded. And this rock bottom card here, you know, I see these cracks in the wall, but even though I know that they're cracks, at first they kind of looked like scratch marks to me. You know, like someone trying to claw their way out. And it's really left you in a position where you felt helpless, maybe claustrophobic. You might have been experiencing like a lot of anxiety, having panic attacks, felt really trapped in your mind. Or it could just be that like financially they may have drained you, or put you in a position where, because of their behaviors, like the resources you had are no longer necessarily accessible to you. Like either you thought that someone was kind of an answer to your prayer and you didn't realize that they were just kind of feeding off of you for their own gain before kind of like dumping you, like leaving you on the roadside, or you tried to help somebody and it ended up being at like your own expense. So we'll see what justice looks like in this situation. What does justice look like in this situation for group number 2? What does justice look like in this situation? The Hanged Man. Okay, what does justice look like in this situation for group 2? Tell me about what the justice is in this situation. Okay, we've got the 10 of Wands, the 5 of Pentacles, the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, the World in reverse, the Three of Cups in reverse, the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, and the Eight of Pentacles. Okay. I definitely see regret here for them. The Hanged Man is about a different perspective. The Two of Wands is about decision. I do also tend to see it as a card of union. And then the Five of Pentacles is about feeling as if you've lost something. So I do feel that there's going to be a lot of internal reflection for them. It's almost like this mouse is having to look at the fox, right? I love foxes and I will always support them, but we do know that sometimes they represent trickery. And so it's almost as if they have to kind of look at their tricking behavior, their sly behavior. And they have to realize that the reason why they are lacking in their life is because of their own actions. And I think that's a hard lesson for this person. I think based off of this and kind of the actions we talked about, they've probably always assumed that the reason why they didn't have enough money, they didn't have enough appreciation in their life, they didn't have enough happiness, was always because of other people or outside circumstances. And I think this is a big catalyst for them because they realize what they lost. And I think for a lot of you too, it's also going to be realizing that they lost something good. That they lost somebody who supported them, who wanted to help them, who had good intentions. It's very likely this person has never felt that before. Now, they probably have had people like this in their life, but they, you know, I don't think they've only ever attracted people with ill intentions, but they've been so defensive throughout their entire lifetime that they always just assumed everybody was out to get them. And they're starting to realize that's not true. So if you feel like, and you didn't deserve this, group number 2, no matter what. But if you feel like all your effort was wasted because it had no impact on this person, like their clarity, right? Like they didn't appreciate it. First of all, they should have treated you better. They shouldn't have just used you for your energy or your attention or your resources and then vamonos, right? But there is something special about you, that you're one of the only people that has even gotten through a crack of their armor, because that armor is thick. They've been humbled, or they're experiencing a humbling, Because this mouse, like that's prey for the fox, right? This mouse is significantly more timid. So it's like they come out of this predator energy and they're looking back as this timid version of themselves, the smaller, more vulnerable version of themselves, and they go, I fucked up. And they see. And I know regret is not enough, but I think it's something that this person has been able to avoid most of their life. They always have a way to explain their actions. They always have a way to give credit to their reasons, right? I think they have a very good armor against feeling things like regret and shame. But they do feel that. They feel that regret. They do feel that shame. And they feel that acknowledgement of like, this is why I don't have what I want in life. This is why I'm lacking. It's because of my decisions, the things I've done, the paths I've chosen. We've got the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse. It's just like kind of they don't put the energy into building things. This person might have expressed to you a lot of dreams or goals they had. They might, at least in this point in time, they might not ever pursue those. It could also be too that the seed that they've planted, you know, the hard work that they have put in or the efforts that they have put in for like a stronger foundation are not going to be prosperous, right? Like if they're trying hard to prove themselves at work, they're not going to get recognized for it in the way that they wanted to, right? Like they may have wanted to be an asset to the company. And that's, I don't think, going to happen. They may have been saving up money, but it's not going to add up. It's just kind of like, I think they lose their focus. Probably because they're starting to realize a lot of critical things. And so it's almost kind of like having to go back to the drawing board, right? Like, holy shit, I'm so far behind because this is how I've been acting my entire life. How can I possibly go forward with this if I don't have this figured out? The World in reverse with the Ace of Cups in reverse. They're not going to feel fulfilled emotionally. And if this is an ex-partner, they may not have a relationship again. I feel like things that they used to enjoy, they're not going to enjoy anymore. And I want to pause this for a second just to say, you know, when we're talking about justice, these things could be lifelong situations or they could be circumstantial, right? So when we're talking about not feeling fulfilled, not enjoying things anymore, maybe that's short term until they get their shit together. Maybe it's long term. I think the decision for that is up to them, right? Because I don't think the universe ever really holds us back completely. I think it gives us opportunities and lessons, and sometimes those lessons are fucking hard, and those lessons are humbling as hell. But it's up to us if we're going to rise to the challenge. I think there's some friendships for them that are going to break away, right? And if this person has an issue with drinking, I think they're going to quit drinking. They might not go out to the bar with friends anymore. They just don't find it fulfilling because I don't think it chases away their problems like it used to. And if they have like a business of their own, I feel like they're going to lose money or they're going to lose customers. So this may be, I don't necessarily see them approaching you. You know, that is entirely possible. That's something that could happen. But I feel like they just have this significant realization of who they are as a person, what they've lost, what they've sacrificed, and how they've hurt you, and likely how they've hurt others. And it kind of knocks down this domino effect. A lot of to do with their finances and their relationships. Where because it's such a heavy realization for them, these other areas take a hit. So if you think that this person is just out there making money and they're partying and they're having a good time and like they're not going to have to face the reality of what happened here, I'm happy to alert you. That's not true. They're going to have, we don't have the tower moment, but this is pretty close to a tower moment to me. And it's going to cause them to maybe neglect some of their responsibilities, but also to pull back. Because I think they're going to go and they're going to do a lot of searching, like soul searching for themselves. Okay, so let's get a message from the Tree Magic Oracle. Yeah, and there's just this feeling of apathy, right? Like things that they just used to enjoy doing, they don't anymore. Okay, that's where the message is coming in. Okay. Because the things that they were using to distract themselves, like I kind of mentioned with the drinking, but anything else they could be using to distract themselves, it's not going to work covering this anymore. It isn't. This realization of how they treated you and what they lost or how their actions impacted you, it's too much for the distractions to cover anymore. And that could be part of why they would be losing business too, because they're too focused on what they're feeling, what they've tried to avoid feeling, but now they can no longer run from. And that could be impacting how they cultivate their business. So here's a message for you. 22, the cherry tree with vulnerability. Every spring is a new beginning, bearing a multitude of budding possibilities. So you're coming out of that rock bottom. Now this is one of the heaven trees, and it says, an inviting fruit may not be genuine, permanent, or good for you. Cherry blossom madness is a euphemism for the emotional insanity of puberty. This means that a turbulent phase will be short-lived. Because this graceful, beautiful tree has a very short life, it is symbolic of fleeting youth, beauty, and mortality. So we could be referencing this here. This may have seemed like an inviting fruit, right? And it wasn't good for you, or it wasn't genuine, or it wasn't permanent. But the good thing about it too is that the turbulence you're experiencing is also temporary. Its highly scented, delicate clusters of frail white or pink flowers imply using your common sense and sixth sense. Also, maybe a reminder, because you might be somebody who's very trusting of people, or you may be somebody who is very attracted to or drawn to people who are like charismatic, adventurous. You chase after that spark. People who are charming. And so the universe is just kind of reminding you, like, in order to avoid another situation like this, try to be a little bit more discerning, okay? Don't necessarily be as inviting to somebody because of their looks or their charm, their pleasantries, the spark that they ignite, or like, you know, if someone's just like a really good talker. Cherries, although sweet, lack nourishment, symbolizing momentary pleasures or disappointment. As cherries are only in season for a short time, it indicates change, preparation, and making the most of your time. So just be cautious with future people, okay? I would highly encourage you to still be open to being vulnerable. You know, trusting people, but understanding that genuine connections are going to not require you to sacrifice everything, right? Even people who are in difficult positions, you know, if the people in my life that I've had around me for decades, it's because we both are there for each other when we need it, right? We have different strengths and weaknesses. We're better at some things than others, but there's a trust established between us. And like, I know that my best friend will help me whenever I need it, and he knows that I'll help him whenever he needs it. And when you want to help somebody who's in a difficult position, even if you don't know them, always just make sure too that you're taken care of, right? Like, it's honorable to want to help people who are struggling. But if you have to put yourself in a compromising position to help somebody else, in terms of like, you know, financially or socially or, you know, whatnot, in your reputation, then it's probably not in your best interest to go quite that far. You know, maybe you can find other ways to help people. But otherwise, you know, just be open to new people in your life. Be trusting, you know, understand that people genuinely care about other people. But watch out for the red flags of somebody who is too charismatic, too charming, asking for too much from you, not taking things seriously, surface level kind of stuff. And that will help you avoid a situation like this again. All right, group number 2, I hope this reading resonated. If it did, please let me know how in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to be part of the family and have not done so, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know whenever I upload a new video. If you're interested in any private reading, I do offer those. Just look for my contact information in the description box down below. Send me an email and I'll send you a list of my services. Bye. Hello, group number 3. If you chose the little propagation vase here, this is going to be your reading on how you will receive justice in this situation. So justice can look like a variety of things, okay? It can be about a feeling or clarity that you receive. It can be good fortunes that happen to you. It can be how another person's behavior is corrected, or ways in which they're impacted by their own decisions, or about them coming to reconcile. It can be internal or external, right? So we're going to be using these oracle cards here to talk about what the situation is, right? That was painful, caused you stress or misfortune. And then we will get into detail about how that is going to be balanced, how there is going to be justice in this situation. I think your group got most of the cards here, but the most cards. We've got number 18 with Magic Stream, 51 with Moonlight. We've got Warrior, card number 10 with Coins, and Good Luck. We've got card number 21 with Recycle and Recover. Let's move these a little bit. And then 27 with Lotus Flower and Enlightenment. So we have a lot of cards here that remind me of spirituality. Magic Stream, Moonlight, Good Luck, and Lotus Flower with Enlightenment. And this warrior energy is about fighting for something, right? Fighting for justice. In this situation, I feel that there was somebody who portrayed themselves in a light, in a position of having authority, right? I feel like they were somebody who either you felt drawn to. They may be somebody who has some kind of like presence online or in your community. Or it may be somebody who saw you at a point in time where they may have noticed some insecurities or areas where there could be improvement. And they put themselves at kind of like the center stage of being able to offer you that. It could be financially, right? It could be that they came to you and said, you know, I have a great way to make money. This is a sure thing. Not a lot of people have tapped into this market, or you can do it from anywhere. It's really easy. It's really simple. It could have been that they offered you like spiritual protection, right? Somebody coming to you as like a spiritual advisor, or portraying themselves as a spiritual advisor, and offering to guide you, whether it's like they have courses or they do like spell casting, or even like if this is when we think of spirituality in like more of a traditional sense, right? Like in religion, somebody who was like a pastor, or of that, you know, a similar nature. And it could be somebody who was catering to like improved health, you know, take these supplements and you'll feel better. Or do this workout routine. This is, all these other ones are junk. This is the right one. They really came across as somebody who was knowledgeable, who cared about the people that they were helping, or if this is more like a one-on-one thing, where maybe they don't have a service that they offer or a persona that they portray to like a larger group of people. They really just kind of boosted their own sense of like grandeur, made themselves seem more reliable, more knowledgeable, more enlightened than what they truly were. This is almost kind of like, to me, either like a quick fix situation, right? Because a lot of us are already preoccupied by so much that's going on in our lives. Work is a major factor, our families, financial stress. And so it can be very appealing when we come across an opportunity that seems like it's not going to take too much time, too much effort, too much knowledge, but it seems like it has results, whether because there are like testimonies of the results or because the way that it's being described to us just makes sense, right? But the thing is, sometimes even when something seems logical, it's not necessarily factual. Facts are in the results. But it feels like someone made you these promises. They could help you see deeper into a situation. They could help transform your body. They could help you get more money. And they seemed invested in it. Like that this was a personal journey for them, right? That they care about people, or they see the injustices in the world. And when someone seems passionate about something, especially as it relates to other people, it can make them seem like they're a person with integrity. And I feel like because we did talk about potentially catering to an insecurity, financial, physical, romantic, mental, what have you. We've got this recover card here, and good luck. It's almost as if like someone was trying to say that they were able to facilitate you retrieving something, retrieving that confidence, retrieving your finances, retrieving a lover. And they really just characterize themselves as being the only or one of the few people who was able to do this because of the way that they studied, because they have this innate gift, because they've discovered something. And I'm not necessarily seeing here how that was proven to be wrong. In the other two piles, there was a more clear indicator of where the injustice was and how it impacted the viewer. But overall, I do get this feeling of like realizing that's not who this person is. That at best, almost, they have simply inflated their own sense of self-importance, or, overestimated their capabilities, or they're just ignorant. At worst, they are intentionally projecting this image of themselves to take advantage of somebody, whether that's just you or somebody else. So I don't know if this situation caused any particular loss for you or any damage to you. What I'm feeling more so is just this frustration of, like, I can't believe I believed them. Right? Like, it's not right how this person is portraying themselves. It's feeling like this deception of character. Like, if you're not this kind of person, don't present yourself that way. And it could have been that, maybe you wasted a lot of money. Maybe it's damaged your ability to trust in people and their authenticity. I'll give you a couple of examples that remind me of this layout here. So one is, like, there was at like 2:00 in the morning, I woke up and my at the time boyfriend's mom still had the TV on, and it was on like this Christian channel, and it was filming a church, and the pastor presented this Christian musician who was going to come out and give a speech. So this guy came out, and he's giving this huge testimonial about how he was poor, and the struggles he faced in life, but how this principle of, like, the prayer of Boaz really led him into prosperity, and testimonials of other people who, because they trusted in God and they gave in faith, because the concept of the prayer of Boaz is like, you reap what you sow. So you invest in something and you will see the rewards of that later. And he's giving these really detailed accounts of how this concept of the prayer of Boaz has just changed people's lives. And he's framing it in the concept of money. People can pay their bills. They can afford their home. They can afford college. They've paid off medical debts. They're living so comfortably. And then he starts to, after framing all of the success around this concept, he starts explaining where he comes into that, right? He will pray the prayer of Boaz over anybody who donates. Then he prefaces it by saying, the success you find might not be monetary. Okay, it could be that your loved one is healed from addiction. Something that was lost is returned. Giving all these variations of what could possibly happen. And the kicker is, like, you have to, like, donate $1,000, and it doesn't go to him, it goes to the church, and he will pray the prayer of Boaz over you, and you'll also get a free copy of his book. That to me was just astounding, because a lot of the people in the church, and I don't know about the viewers, but they were elderly people, right? And probably very strong in their faith. What it sounded like to me was, give me $1,000 for your book. For the book, right? And just the way that he was setting it up, so it made it seem like this act was so impactful, and he framed it around money, which is what a lot of people are insecure about. But then he characterized it by saying, well, it might not come in the form of financial gain. Could be anything else. Mind you, I did research on this guy. I can't remember what his name is, but he has been known for committing other types of fraud and scams. The other one that I can think of is when I was approached by a woman while I was working retail, and she wanted me to meet with this woman who was an advisor if I was interested. about like a side gig or whatever. So I was like, okay, whatever. She told me a little bit about it. It was this strange concept of like, the thing was like a search engine, like, or like an Amazon or Google or whatever for Fortune 500 companies. And it was too tough to explain all in one sitting, but her advisor would explain it to me more. So I got on a Zoom meeting with this woman. And the woman was talking about how she'd been with the Mayo Clinic for decades as a nurse, and then COVID hit or something happened, and she got laid off, and there was this guy who took her under his wing and was her advisor, and her advisor is now doing his job anywhere he wants to in the world. And he's making so much money, and like she went from struggling to now she can do the same thing, like she can take these vacations. So once again, offering like financial security. And then she tells me the exact same thing that the first woman had told me, which was basically it's a search engine or whatever for Fortune 500 companies, and that it was too difficult to explain in one sitting. I literally got no information from this woman. I asked her like what was the name of it, and she said, well, it doesn't really have a name. And that was where I ended it. I was curious about what it was she was trying to involve me in, but I was like, I'm not going to go through the ringer. Like, I'm not going to keep doing these Zoom meetings to try to decode what it is. Like, I don't have faith that what she's offering is really anything substantial. If it's this mysterious and you can't explain it in one sitting because it's too complicated, it's not a good business model. So that's where I really feel, obviously neither of those situations like really impacted me, but they were shady, right? And I feel like whatever happened here was someone being really shady. And they were offering to kind of like improve your circumstances. And the reality is it was all an illusion, right? It was like, to me, it's like snake oil. Like they tried to sell you something, whether it's physically sell you something, a product, a service, or sell you the idea that they could basically make your problems go away, and bring you fortune. And the reality was that they didn't. So, oh yeah, the lady told me there wasn't a name because they were all considered basically independent contractors. I'm still curious about that. Like it sounded shady as hell. I have no idea what it actually was, but just to remind you, and you might be going, Amber, I already learned this lesson. That's why we're having this reading right here. If somebody is telling you something that sounds too good to be true, the likelihood is that it is too good to be true. Okay, so where will group 3 see justice in this situation? Okay, the Hermit. Judgment. The Ten of Swords. The King of Pentacles in reverse. Buddy, that's too much. Where will group 3 see? Okay, the 5 of Pentacles. Justice. And the 10 of Cups. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so what I feel like, group number 3, these are different scenarios. What I feel like is, first and foremost, you're going to be able to take this knowledge and you are going to grow from it. We can talk about like this can mean in the context of growing to where you start to recognize the signs of when somebody is misinformed or putting on a ruse. I feel like your judgment overall is going to improve from this. You can figure out like maybe what questions to ask people, how to tell if somebody's being authentic or not, how to do research about projects or products or services, information. You know, what type of investments are appropriate for situations and circumstances, so that you're less likely to be caught in a situation like this again. You know, I think you're going to be able to be a little bit more discerning. I do think also for some of you, you're going to learn more information about the topic that this person was claiming they knew so much about. So I think for some of you, you could say, this person tried to screw me over on like health supplements and stuff like that, telling me that these were the kind of supplements that were going to help me in this area of my life. And it turned out that was bullshit. So I'm going to learn all about health supplements, about vitamins and nutrients and all that kind of thing. Or like, this person claimed that they were very spiritual and they understood the workings of the universe. But it turns out they were full of shit. So you know what? I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to look into different belief systems. I'm going to learn different practices. I'm going to read about astrology, about, deities and crystals or whatever. So you take the initiative in your own hands and you learn the information intimately that this person claimed that they knew. And for some of you, that's kind of maybe where that part ends, where you're just like, I know what I'm supposed to take for this health issue. I know what will facilitate sharper memory. I know what will facilitate longer duration of energy. I know it will facilitate fat loss or muscle building. Or if we're looking at like the spirituality thing, like I feel comfortable in my spirituality now. I know what I connect with, and I don't feel like I need somebody to come in and tell me how to do it, because I connect with my spirituality independently now. For others of you, you might take that even further. And I'm getting like the energy of like, this person claimed that they could do this, and you know what? I'm going to exceed them, or I'm going to do what they said that they could do. And you're doing it like authentically because you're going through and you're studying and you're having experiences and you're learning and you're practicing, because that's what all the Hermit is. It's kind of pulling away from external factors so that you can process and learn, and make those connections independently. And then next to the judgment, it's really almost kind of like leveling up, like becoming fairly significant in that field, in reputation, in your service. And then we've got the Ten of Swords with the King of Pentacles in reverse and the Five of Pentacles. For some of you, this person is probably going to go through a lawsuit. If it's not through you, it could be somebody else or multiple people, or maybe even like a facility or a corporation who are suing this person. Because this Ten of Swords here, it's almost like pressure. It's like a bunch of people or multiple areas where this person is being hit, right? And like attacked. And then we've got cards here of like financial insecurity. The King of Pentacles in reverse basically has lost his entire empire. He's broke. And then the Five of Pentacles is about like feeling left out, feeling like you've lost something. And in this situation, oh, good. Okay. In this situation, to me, that's like screaming lawsuit, especially with the Hermit and Judgment cards, you know, preceding it, even though I counted these as like separate and individual, like originally, I can see how they play a stronger role in the storyline here, where I feel like someone is doing research on this person. It could be like a private investigator. It could be somebody who was like similar in your situation, or maybe this is even you. And it's like gathering information, gathering evidence, right? And it's going to be submitted, and this person, either it's going to be a legal lawsuit, and this person is going to have to like shut their business down or pay reparations, or there's so much slander, like there's a, like, you know, it starts circulating online, like the reality of who this person is and like what they're offering. Or it's like within the community where they're just like, they're called out, and people are seeing the farce that this person is portraying, and they're realizing it's all a mask, it's all a lie. And this person has to shut down. They have to shut down shop. Their business is going to close. Because you can only keep up the ruse for so long, you know? And information is so much more accessible now in this day and age, and also the circulation of conversation happens so much more quickly. So scams like these, or even like people who just, even if they're not living up to their end of the bargain, right? They're selling something that they cannot substantiate, that they cannot maintain, even if their intentions are good. That is all going to come back and bite them in the ass. Okay? We've got Justice here with the Ten of Cups. And I think I think this is something that you will probably see, even if you're not participating in it. I think it's something that you will see, and that's going to offer a relief to you, right? Like knowing it wasn't just me, right? I wasn't just crazy for thinking this about this person, how they're a sham. Because maybe they told you like you weren't trying hard enough, or you didn't believe. So there's a girl way back when I was acquaintances with. Her father passed away. She was a teenager at the time, I believe. And her and her family were very, very religious. They ended up switching churches, if I recall correctly. And the church where they went to after this, his passing, from what I understand, told the family that if they prayed hard enough and they believed hard enough, that the father would come back from the dead. And when that didn't happen, he told me it was because they didn't have enough faith. Right? Like, how fucked up is that? And that's what this person could have been telling you. Like, if you're not seeing success in this area, it's you. Okay? It's not me. It's not the information I'm providing you. It's you. You didn't try hard enough. You didn't go out enough. You didn't talk to enough people. You didn't do it right. You didn't believe enough. And with this lawsuit or this public outing, you're going to feel very vindicated. You're like, it wasn't me. I saw through the cracks. I believed it at first, but I saw through it. I knew that I was taken advantage of, or I knew that's what they were trying to do, or I knew it wasn't quite the situation. Something was off about it, and I knew it, and now I'm seeing the proof that I was right. And this other people, it's going to be harder for this person to take advantage of somebody else again, or other people are learning not to trust this person. And I think also overall, whatever this person was trying to sell you, like we said, either it was like a product or a service, an idea, I think you're going to get to a point with Justice here and the Ten of Cups where you don't feel insecure about that situation anymore, right? Like, if you were worried about money or whatever, I feel like something coming in is helping you to feel more secure in your finances, whether it's a job promotion, earnings from this lawsuit, maybe you're able to see areas where you can reduce your spending, or find alternatives. If this is something about, like, a health journey, you find a way to accommodate your health needs without this person. It could, involve people who are like certified medical professionals, but it could also just be like you learn the dietary needs to support your body in a more efficient way, right? Because like it depends. Whether it's like, an allergy or like a thyroid issue, whether it's about weight or energy levels or mental health, like different dietary habits will affect us differently. So you might find the dietary habit, the dietary lifestyle that allows you to feel better in your body, more regulated, or else like you feel content in how your body is. Spirituality, it's like you create the practice, you create the connection that allows you to feel confident and connected, right? Like you feel that you are at one with the universe, or that you have a strong connection with God, or that, you're just kind of at peace. There's just something here about feeling good about yourself and about life and the way things turn out. So we'll get one final message using the Tree Magic Oracle. Okay. Fruitful, long-lasting success is certain, bringing union, partnership, harmony, a meeting, and a love match with the pear tree, good relationships. With card number 9. 9 is all about like confidence and independence, right? It's about feeling comfortable with ourselves, feeling successful, honoring our hard work and our stability. And the what stands out to me here is fruitful, long-lasting success is certain. Because we talked about sometimes being drawn in by quick fixes, right? But this is talking about finding and building a long-lasting success. And so I think this situation helps you learn to take the longer route, spend more time studying, take things more slowly, not cut corners, do the research for yourself, be consistent, because you can trust that. And it looks like it's going to be bringing, union, partnership, harmony, a meeting, and a love match. It could be like a business union, could be bringing in customers, friendships, a romantic relationship, harmony within yourself or in your other relationships. Especially if you were feeling like whatever this person promised you could potentially lead you to more satisfactory connections. Taking the time to be patient and to work towards whatever this is will allow you to build that sustainable growth, right? So we've got the pear tree's pretty white blossom of spring offers a flowering of your hopes and wishes, especially those of a feminine nature. The shape of the pear fruit symbolizes femininity and partnership. You have a love relationship or close friendship that has the potential to bloom into a fruitful partnership. You will surely receive a love token from someone offering constancy. Promising new seeds created from past endeavors will continue to grow from the fruit of expectancy. A partnership that you have now or an ambition to achieve something enduring will stand the test of time. Pleasure shared is pleasure doubled. Pear trees live to be very old, so your happiness continues. Yeah, situation where you learn like taking the shortcut doesn't often lead to sustainable growth and progress and happiness. And so just as often I don't know if we have it here, but justice is often depicted with a scale for balance. And I think in the long run, part of your justice is finding that balance, maybe balance of expectations and balance of effort, so that you can have happiness, you can have fulfillment. And finances, spirituality, relationships, self-love, and it's going to be enduring, okay? So that's what I have for you, group number 3. If this reading resonated, please let me know how in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to be a part of the family and have not done so, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know whenever I upload a new video. If you're interested in a private reading, you can look for my contact information in the description box down below. Send me an email, and I'll send you a list of my services. All right, bye.